Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, okay. So Bitcoiner, look at that. We had a couple of interesting days on Bitcoin. Excuse me. Sometimes I press my mute button, it doesn't work. Anyway, so on Saturday we had a little bit of a drop. And then the price was basically bought back on the Sunday for a higher close. So that is extremely bullish. Taking the liquidity from the lows is bullish. Full candle reversal, bullish. Lots of bullish things happening right now on the daily time frame. The weekly candle was just off the charts, really. Increasing volume. It's kind of what you want to see. When you have increasing volume, it means people were taking profit on the way up. And that's kind of what you want to see. You don't want the volume to decrease because it might signify that the price has gone up without significant profit taking. So taking a new high and increasing in volume and then closing higher are exactly the right things. And when I look at this previous level, let me see if I have the line here. Nope. I'll just put it again. So that was a previous level and we closed above the previous high. You see that? We've come back already, we've pulled back, and now we're above this high. So that's a very impressive weekly close above a previous high with increasing volume. I mean, you can't really, I don't think you can get more bullish than that. And we're halfway through our 3-day candle. So we had a little bit of a red doji in the highs, which could signify a reversal, but at the moment it's not. And then on the daily time frame, we had this really nice V-shaped recovery. I'll show you that. If I go down to the lower time frame, you can clearly see a nice V-shaped recovery. I'll show you. See that? Up. Back into the golden pocket. And we're back into the range. Basically, we're back into the range. We have a range here. Some sort of range. And we're in the range. Now, coming back into the range is a sign of strength. That's kind of what you want to see. Losing a range is a sign of weakness, and the range that I'm referring to is the volume range. That being said, if you look at this 1 hour candle here, there, you could argue that we never left the range. You could argue that actually we were still ranging because we hadn't actually come down below this candle in a close. You can kind of see it's holding, it held. Now if I go up, you go to a higher time frame candle, you can see also that this doji, because the thing about the candles are you need closes on the same time frame that you mark off these levels. So you see this green doji in the highs, you didn't get a daily close underneath it. So until you do, technically it's holding. Technically it's holding. And actually what's really holding at the moment, well, no, hold on, let me see. Let me have a look. Here, you see this 12 hour. So that's kind of your first indication of a change. Will be a 12 hour close underneath this white horizontal line that I have. I'm going to mark it off as key, and then I'm just going to label it 12-hour close key. So basically, if you see how these 12-hour candles are failing to close underneath this key level, which corresponds to here, that would signify a change in the pattern of what's forming of the candle. It's good to have these kind of indicators which you prepare in advance, so that if it does happen, you'll know that there's something going on, something different going on. So at the moment, we can see it's clearly holding as support, and there's no reason to think that the price is going to go down and close underneath that level, because at the moment it's being bought up on the 12-hour time frame. If I go down to the 4-hour time frame, you're not getting the same behavior. So the one to look at now for a close is this candle here. So none of the 12-hour candles have been able to close underneath this key level, right? So that's the one that I'm looking for right now at the moment. And then if you look at the daily time frame, well, we did have a close lower down here, lower than the level here, so it's harder to gauge, but you could almost argue that this green doji from the top to the bottom is holding the range, and every candle inside that doji is some sort of inside candle until we eventually get a close above that candle, and then that would be a sign of strength for continuation. If we get close above that candle, a little back test for continuation. And so at the moment, looking at the higher time frame, these are the kind of levels that I'm looking for. This line here is the previous high. So we've closed above the previous high in the weekly time frame, and it's not necessarily a line to trade off, but it is a guiding line, so it does give you an indication. So as you can see, the price did react, and then it did hold here, and now it's holding here. So there is some kind of reaction going around this line, but it's not necessarily a line that you can trade off, simply because it's in the middle of the range and it's hard to do that. Something else that I've noticed is that the point of control of this local range, it was in the higher part of the range, and now it's in the lower part of the range. So see, before, if I pull my before chart, you can see it was higher up here. See that? And now it's moved down a bit. Good morning, David. How are you? All right, I've got my screen open so I can see what you're saying. I wasn't looking. That being said, unfortunately, I'm going to take a 2-minute break because I have to do something. Go and get a tea or a coffee. Be back in 2 minutes. Don't leave. Be right back. Oh, 2 people left. Never mind. That's life. I don't really care. All right, I'm going to do a 2-minute break and then we'll continue my Bitcoin. Okay, continuing on. We are into the value area high of the current range. And for continuation, what we need to see is this to flip into support for a push up. And what we really want is a squeeze up. So we have to see how that plays out later on today. We also have some sort of something going on here. I mean, potentially we're just going to range bound some more. Good morning, Zach. Welcome. How's it going? Nice to see you. Potentially we could range bound some more, actually, just looking at the charts. I think we have to see what happens when the price kind of goes up there, because until the price goes up there, we're not going to know. And there's two kind of scenarios that I'm thinking. Some kind of failed auction, or like a real squeeze to go up, like a real rally. And the thing about this high is there's not really much resistance there, and so we really do have to see how much liquidity is there up there to push higher, and then how much interest there is for continuation. Because as I was talking about the higher time frame yesterday, and I think, David, you might have missed it. Basically, I was suggesting that on the higher time frame, there really isn't much resistance in the highs. And so what I did was I went over all my levels again. Let me just put this into another group. Rid of Sunday. Travel hodlers. Good morning, B. All right, so we've got the travel crew, the TRVL crew online today. Let me see. So basically yesterday what I did was I did my higher time frame levels fresh. Let me just see if there's any changes. Yep, there's a slight change. So what we've actually done is we've closed above this daily level now. So that's a washed level. We have to see if there's any kind of reaction on the back test. We have a fresh new liquidity level down here. So we have a little bit of liquidity below us. This one is a washed level. But sometimes what you can get is you can get the price to come back to find support before it goes up. So just keep that in mind. Even though it's a wash level, yesterday's candle closed above the daily level, so that's quite bullish. We've already gone down into the body and taken the liquidity from most of the candle. All that's remaining is all the way down to the bottom of the candle. 54k. Zach is saying a big liquidity on order book around 54k. Let me have a look. So what I did yesterday is I also did my volume levels. So we have a previous range value area high, and that previous range is from this bull market. So in the previous bull market, this was the value area, and then the point of control was here, and then we have a previous range value area high at 54643. So it is possible that that level is being front run a little bit with some orders to sell into that higher, the range high from the previous bull market. That's the first line of resistance. The second line of resistance that I've got is the naked weekly point of control. And that weekly point of control is from this week here. That was the point of control. And so that level hasn't been traded through yet. So that will offer resistance. And then you've got a couple of higher levels, which is the daily and the monthly levels higher up. And then the last level, last two levels, you have the weekly level, and then you have the all-time high. So effectively, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels above us. And we have a ton below us, a ton of levels below us. All of these levels that you see are untapped liquidity levels. So there's a lot. We have a lot of liquidity levels above us. And basically what's happened is there's this bullish impulsive move up has created a lot of untouched liquidity levels in the process. So if the price does in the future manage to come back down somehow, there's going to be a lot of support. You have to bear that in mind. Now, Let me just also have a look at EXO charts quickly. Let me put it onto, let me just do it here actually, because it'll be easier to just do it on this screen while I'm on it. I see a little bit of bullish divergence. Not much, just very slight. Very slight, not crazy. Not really. It's quite flat actually. The CVD is quite flat. So I wouldn't regard that divergence as divergence. I would just ignore that on the slightly moving out. So you see this drop yesterday where the price dropped down here. You see that whole drop? You see how the CVD went down like that? So the CVD made a significant new low because that was a previous pivot. And on the price held higher. So there was a significant bullish divergence in that drop yesterday. And it basically what this is saying to me, again, as I've always said, you have large whales with big orders absorbing the price on spot. That's what's happening. So you can see it. You can see it in the charts. The CVD is telling you what's going on. David sent me a picture of me on the TV. Thanks. So I don't see bearish divergences at the moment. Let me go into the order book and have a look, a little bit of a zoom to see if I see anything interesting. There was a bit of a sell here. See that? That was a short on open interest. So you have a little bit of a short going on here. It's a bit of a long going on there. It's long, and then what's this one? That's a short there. It's quite a big short here. Look, see that? 7.2 million increase in open interest. The price came down. It was negative 5.1 million negative delta. So it was a market sell on open interest. So we have a little bit of a short here. That's quite large actually, 7.2 million. So at the moment, this short here is trapped at the moment. What that means is that the price is at the moment trading above his position, and it's quite a big short. It's 7.2 million on open interest, so it's a leverage short. They're the ones which will have to market buy if the price starts moving up. They're the ones that are going to market buy. And so we have potentially, we can trap this short. There's a few kind of smaller shorts in the top of this range, but I'm not seeing crazy bullish CVD yet. So let's see how that plays out. And we are in the top of the range of the value area. Let me have a look at this chart. Hold on a second. A little bit of a buying tail lower down. I don't really see anything. Let me have a look at these ones. So we have a naked point of control from yesterday. Let me just mark that. 51160. 51160. Let me just mark that on my chart. 511. Okay, daily point of control 51160. So it's good to have these levels because if the price does come back down, you're going to get a reaction. So that would be actually a really good entry, just simply because you'll have a swing failure as well on the naked daily point of control. Let me just have a look as well to see. It's just underneath the golden pocket. Right, let me just see if there's anything else. Let me go to the weekly time frame. So you have, okay, so look, so you also have a weekly point of control as well. That's a where's the price? 51831. 51831. And slightly higher up. 51. It's a bit lower actually. Hold on. 51790. Let me change it to 51790. What? Okay. All right. Let me have a look at the session charts to see if we have anything on the sessions. So we're in the London session now, and you have the daily open. Where's the Asia session? New York. Can't see it. It should be there. Is there no Asia? Asia's missing. Let's try it again. Asia, there's Asia. Weird. Zach is saying, but we can exclude 4 and keep only 2 major levels. Could be big resistance, 56k and 60k. Kamal Ruka, is it getting higher this week or will it be flat? Is it getting higher this week or will it be flat? That's funny. So we're actually just trading in the Asia range. I can't see anything at the moment. I can't see any untapped session points of control except these two lower down. They're much lower down. So yeah, I'd probably ignore that. Yeah, there's a little bit of shorting going on here. See, look at this. 1.2 open interest. There's a bit of longing in the highs as well. All right, so there's a bit of shorting and longing going on, which is usual. Can't really tell anything from that at the moment. So to answer Kamal Ruka's question, is it going up or is it flat? Look, Kamal, we've just printed a really bullish candle on the weekly time frame. This is ultra bullish, right? But if there's no liquidity here to take it further, then you will get a pullback, because then the price will look for support. It's just the way it works. If there's no liquidity to take the price further, the price will turn, it will go down to go back up. That's just how the price is. So no one can tell you if it's going up or down, but what I'm saying to you is that underneath us we have a large amount of levels where there's liquidity, which will hold the price up potentially for support. So these are my higher time frame levels, and the price right now is trading above 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that weekly tapped? Let me see. Yeah, that's a tapped level from there. So 1, 2, 3 untapped levels. That's tapped as well. No, daily and import. So 2 naked points of control and 1 daily. So 3 untouched levels in this current range. So in this current range, we have 3 untapped levels. So I don't think the price is going down like that just yet. But I do think we're still in a range. And the way to know if the range has broken up is like this. Let me explain. So as I was explaining, I don't want to see a 12-hour close underneath this red line here, because if you look at the way the candles are forming around this in this range, we haven't had a 12-hour close underneath this line, and that corresponds to this 12-hour expanding candle. You see that? So clearly this level on the 12-hour time frame is holding the price, and I think it would look very unusual to get a close down here. Don't think that would look good. Yeah, and so just bear that in mind, right? So that will be my first indication that something has changed. And when you compare it to the liquidity levels, look, it's coming up underneath a naked weekly point of control, and it's coming underneath a daily level. And these are untouched levels. So I think if you want to, for the price to come underneath those 2 levels and close here, that would be a real sign of weakness. So just bear that in mind. But I think what's happening now is that we're just still ranging. I don't know if it's ready to go up yet. I think it's quite weird for the price to just go up after we've gone up like this. I think it would look weird to just go up like that. That doesn't really make much sense to me, the way that I've drawn that. And when you're looking at the formation of this move, yeah, I feel like there is a harmonic here. David, you're the harmonic expert. Show me. Who can tell me? Is there a harmonic here? I don't know. I feel like there's a harmonic forming here. Let me have a look. Cipher? A bullish cipher? Guys, I'm just making this up, right? I have no idea. This would be a cipher. That's a cipher. This is a Gartley. That's a bullish Gartley. And then you have some other ones. You've got this, potentially you've got a shark as well. See that? That was going much lower to there. There's something forming here, guys. I sense that there's something forming. I can't tell you what it is, but I feel like there's some kind of harmonic forming here, because I don't really see this price just going up. Like, it doesn't, like in the highs. I think we have to see what happens in the highs here, and I don't know if we're going to get like a squeeze. We might get like a failed auction, and then it's going to look more like something in the highs, and then we have to see which one of these harmonics are forming. Now, if we don't get into the highs and take that, then you're looking at a lower high. So you have to look at these harmonics. It looks like it's something bullish, though. It doesn't look like bearish to me, what's forming. It looks like a bullish harmonic. If you take this X pivot lower down here, it doesn't really matter where it comes, to be honest with you, here or here. Possibly there. It doesn't really matter. Gartley or Cipher. David is saying, yeah, it could be a Gartley or Cipher. Depends on what it does here at the potential C. So we're looking potentially at a Gartley or a Cipher. And we're looking at a bullish Gartley or Cipher. And depending what it does will depend on how deep this correction is. So if we go lower, then this will be flatter. But I feel like it's more like a cipher, the way it looks like. The Gartley's a lot flatter, unless, of course, this is from down here. Then that would look more like a Gartley. And then this would be, because they're quite parallel, aren't they? I don't know, I don't really like that. I think that would be more like a Gartley if it was like that. That's more like a Gartley there. And that's the wrong pivot. It's this pivot. So I'm thinking a cipher. That's what I'm thinking, actually. Get everyone really bearish. And then go up. You also have a bat as well. If you have a bat, it's basically that. Same thing, really. You're still going underneath the B. And so it'd be hard to take this D trade unless you get back above the B. So really the trade, I mean, there's two trades to have right now to short. One would be to short now and potentially get invalidated because we're going higher. So that's your trade. Or let this go higher and swing failure, and then that's your trade. And you're trading for a cipher, basically. Look, this one here. and then the long is the D, but it would be very difficult to take the D unless you get a swing failure of the B. That would be easy. That would be an easy entry. Right there. And you have your invalidation there. And then you're into a bullish cipher. And so basically what you're looking at, so this is a question, do we go up, to go down, to go up, or do we just go down? So the difference is between a cipher and a bat, depending on whether the C is above the A or the C is below the A. It makes no difference to the bottom configuration of the XBD. The XBD, I think the X is probably here, to be honest with you. It doesn't really matter. So SFB the short. So David is saying, so SFB the short, the A, and then SFB the long B. I think so, yeah. I think that those are the two trades in play right now. I don't think, I'm not expecting it to just go up. It just doesn't make sense to just go up because of this kind of push up. It could, but that's why you would wait for the swing failure on both counts. And that's the safest entry. And then the other thing that could form is this this butterfly. But for this butterfly to form, we can't make a new high. And if we're looking at a butterfly, so let me just hide these now into my harmonics trade. Cipher trade. If I do another one for a butterfly, you're just making a lower high here. And see, you have the difference. You have a bat and a butterfly. So this is a bat and this is a butterfly. That would really get people bearish, this. So you basically, that's the butterfly. And then the bat would, so on both cases, you still have the SFP trade here. You have the SFP of the B into the D and to make a bat, or you have the SFP of the X into the D to make a butterfly. So it depends. And that's only if we make a lower high. If you make a lower high, you're not taking the short because you're just not taking the short. You're only taking the short if we swing failure the A. It'd be too hard to take the short now without putting your stop above the A now. You just have to short now. I can't see why you would. I feel like we're taking the high. What if it keeps going past the 8 SR flip? So if it keeps on going past the 8, so let me just save this as well. Creating perpetual rings. Butterfly. Put this image in there and hide it. Let me get rid of these volume levels. All right. So for continuation, you need to flip this line. It's as simple as that. And that's, you're just going to get continuation. But you're not going to continue if you come back down like that. There's no continuation there. And then it's easy to see if you get a continued fake out, because if you do that and then just go back up, then it'll be easy to see. Very easy to see that kind of behavior because you have a very definite line in the highs. So these are very easy to trade because you can see what happens around these. They're very clear lines. So it's very easy to see what happens. And the best time frame to use is either the 15-minute or the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, probably 15-minute is going to give you an earlier entry, but more liable potentially for fake out. 30 minutes probably going to be the best time frame to use. The minute you start seeing a close or two closes on either side of the line, that's going to give you the idea of acceptance on either side of the line. Yeah, so one close followed by a second close, like two closes. And then if you get two closes back underneath the line, then you have an immediate rejection. So if you're looking for a failed auction, this is the kind of behavior you're looking for. And if it's an SFP, it's an SFP. An SFP is literally, it's one candle up and down. It's like an instant reaction. That's your SFP. And then you can just short that. And if you SFP and you short it as the price comes down immediately, it's an immediate reaction. The people who short will immediately take profit. So you'll get a quick price will come back up. And you just don't want it to make another high. If it does, then you could take another SFP. It's possible. Because the problem with SFPs is sometimes early SFPs get punished, and when it comes to swing failure patterns, you sometimes have to take it 3 times. Sometimes once, twice, 3 times. That's the problem with swing failure patterns. And each time each time the swing the early shorts are punished. And so sometimes it's just better to wait for the price to just find acceptance back underneath the line, or rejection from the higher part of the line sometimes. Yeah. But that's why people take with SFPs. The reason why the price comes back up is because these people who shorting quickly take their profits, and they take their profits on market because they want to take their profits and have a risk-free trade, and they'll take most of their profits and then they'll build on that position if the price continues to go down. So they'll compound. So what will happen with an SFP trade is what you'll get. Let me just do it here. So it looks right. You'll get the price to go up, go down, and then they'll take their profit somewhere down here, and then they'll look to compound it on some kind of local golden pocket. So as the price, taking profits, as the price comes back up, that will be an entry to compound their profits with a high invalidation back above there. So sometimes you'll get, that's why sometimes the SFPs look like head and shoulders patterns. But if you get in too early, then what will happen is you'll get the left shoulder of a head and shoulders pattern. Yeah, that's what will happen. So you'll get the first SFP, the second SFP, and then you get the third one. You get like a little head and shoulders, and I haven't drawn it right, but basically the golden pocket will probably be on that SFP line somewhere. So anyway, so this is the kind of action we're looking for in the highs. And if you have continuation, you're not going to long. No one's going to long that. The only way that you would long a breakout is, and this is the only way, okay? And I'm not expecting anyone here to do it, but the only way that you would long a breakout, I've done it before, is if you're looking at XO chart when it happens. So you have the line clearly marked out. It's previous week high. It's this yellow line here. This high line here. And what you will see is in the orders, you're going to see a large amount of volume with a lot of imbalances. And imbalances are basically where orders aren't filled. So, what do I do? So, I don't know if I can show you. I'll see if I can show you like a breakout. Let me see. Maybe this. You see these like black squares. These are imbalances. That means the orders weren't filled as the price went up. You see that? So you have large volume and you have order imbalances as the price goes up. And basically that signifies that there were no orders to fill as the price went up. With the increased volume, with the increased open interest, although this was an increasing open interest, this was a little bit of a squeeze, but the imbalances was what you were looking for. So you get that, you could probably long it in a breakout long, probably. But you'd have to have EXO open. You'd have to have this open. Let me see if I see it anywhere else. Yeah, look at this. See these imbalances? See these? 1.4 million. And you had quite large increase. There's look at this delta. It's 13 million market longs. And the OI, even though it went down because there was a squeeze, but it actually went up because new longs opened. Yeah. So the net open interest was down only minus 908,000. But the reality is, I can't see the total OI. Hold on, does it say? No, it doesn't say here. Can't see it. But that's 13 million longs opened, and half of that was on open interest. And look at all those imbalances. So you have all of these long orders that weren't filled on a market long. Does that make sense? So when you see that, that gives you the confidence to long a breakout with the increasing volume and order imbalances. And what happens, I can't show you here because it hasn't happened. But if you get the price come back, it will stop at those those imbalances, and those imbalances are like orders that haven't been filled. They're waiting to be filled. And so they act as support as the price goes up. If the price comes back for some kind of retrace in the next candle, it will come back to those imbalances. And so going to the current breakout, if you're going to see a breakout and you're going to trade a breakout, you basically need this open, and then you would need to look at the way the imbalances form as the price goes up. That's basically how it's done. Yeah. And then you'll know if it's a healthy breakout or not, basically. And it's based on orders. So let me have a look here. Let me see if I can show you an example. So you see this price went up. You had these imbalances. And so what actually happens is when the price comes back, it finds support on those imbalances. That's where it first finds support. It's on these imbalances. And that's what you want. You want that because you want support to be created as the price goes up. Cost 2 more. All right, that's EXO. Forget about that. Any questions? Anyone? All right, so the action plan for today, if just to go over it again, if anyone is looking to trade or just practice trading, that's cool. It's good to practice. And it's good to just keep on doing this because it gives you confidence for the future. we're looking for potentially this harmonic, which is a cipher. So we're taking the trade on a swing failure of C, and then we're taking the trade on a swing failure of B. Okay. Or we're looking for a butterfly, and that would be a lower high forming now. And I think you could, I don't know, but I think you could probably still take the short, but you'd have to wait for the C to form and for the price to drop. And I think you have this previous high now, which is acting as support and resistance here. So I think potentially if we allow the price to fall, back test, you could take that long, short, and just have your invalidation on the C, and then you're trading the idea of this butterfly harmonic all the way down to the D, and your major take profit is going to be underneath the B, because then that could be forming some kind of bat. All right. So we have a few trades on the table right now, and let's just see which one pans out, and maybe one of them will. All right, any questions? Any questions? That was quite good. I like that. Let me set my alerts before I forget. Other than that, SFP short, BTC. Let me do one below. BTC. And then how far down did the harmonics go? Let me just check. All right, so I'll set another alert because I might take a sneaky entry lower down. And the way I'm going to do this is I'll show you. I'm going to imagine my harmonic. So I'm just going to imagine the cipher, and then I'm just going to imagine some kind of fib, extension. So actually I'm going to pull it right down to here. See that? So we have to see how high the C gets, because that's going to be really important. And obviously if the C is much higher, that will change the value of the extension. You see that? So if it goes higher, the extension is lower. You just don't want to get down below the X. That would look wrong. If it does go below the X, then you're looking at another, you're looking at something else, aren't you? What are you looking at? A butterfly. Why is my butterfly higher up? That's wrong. My butterfly should be down here. Yeah. So I think that all of, like, just you would use fibs to create your targets for your targets, basically. So you basically try and line them up with the fibs on the extension. That's how you would do it. So if we're doing a butterfly, we're going down to D, and then you'd basically aiming for the 1 to 2. David is saying, or could be an ABCD 1 to 1. What's an ABCD 1 to 1? How would you draw that? I've got my SFE mark. Let me put it on here. Don't just take these SFPs. Just when you do it, make sure you draw the harmonic to make sure it's lining up. And the confirmation, I think the easiest way to do it is wait for the swing failure. Because what will happen is you're going to get some kind of, I'll show you actually. So let me just hide these. So basically in this drop, here there was a harmonic too, and I'll show you this one. There's some here. To here, to here, to here, to here. That was a butterfly. Let me just bring the image. See that? Butterfly. So we had a butterfly. And so basically, if you wanted to take that butterfly, in effect, what you would have done is you just have to wait. I mean, you could just take it. And so if you were to do a fib extension, you see how the price comes almost into the 1.618 of this extension, but actually it doesn't manage to close underneath this, you see, kind of there. So the area of resistance on the extension is that area. So you could have longed there, trading this harmonic, but the safest way to do it is either a swing failure of the X as the price comes up, or even safer, if you're not sure, just swing failure here, a bit higher up. Doesn't really matter because you're still in a winning trade. Now the price is moving in your direction because you're trading a bullish pattern, a bullish harmonic, which is completed. Now, obviously, the lower you take it, the more ROI you have because your invalidation is here, because you're not now expecting it to do that. You're trading the harmonic to go up. But I mean, it doesn't mean you need a wide invalidation, because if you're trading a swing failure and the price is going up, you don't need to have invalidation down there. Like any one of these candles could have been your invalidation. The price just kept on going up. Right? So that's something to bear in mind. And so if we want to trade this one now, similar idea. Let's just say it does exactly the same thing. So you basically, let's just say we have a higher time frame butterfly forming. Then that's quite extended, and that wouldn't work. See that? It wouldn't work because it would be above the X if it came to the D. So I don't even know if a butterfly will be forming then it might be a bat. See? So you either have the choice is a butterfly or a bat, depending on how far the D extends, whether it goes down below the X or below the X there. And so then if you're not going to go all the way down, you just have to see where it forms resistance. And that would only be in play if the C holds here to go down. Right? So that's kind of what I'm imagining. So there's some variations in what could form, and we just have to see how that plays out. Just keep an eye on that. The easiest one will be a swing failure. Get rid of that. Put that there. Hide that. And these are our levels. All right. No questions? Okay, let's go on to TRVL. Have a look. Actually, before I go into TRVL, let me just have a look at the dominance chart. Oh, look at that. That's very nice. I like to see that. Who doesn't like it when Bitcoin dominance drops? And we did have it in going into this value area high. And I did have this line marked out. And look what's happened. It's kind of rejected from that value area high. So obviously we have to see what happens. Maybe we fall here and come back up, or maybe we go a little bit further. You know, let's see what happens there. But that's good. We want that to we need Bitcoin dominance to to go down if we want our alts to pump. So that's never a bad idea. I've got ETH BTC potentially in this higher time frame diamond pattern. It's very rough. As you can see, I've drawn it very rough. We're in the value area. We're in the high of the value area now. That doesn't mean anything because look how it just went above it before. But we are into resistance at the moment, so we have to see how this plays out too. But at the moment, it's basically ranging, and these kind of behaviors where it does this kind of crazy S is reminiscent of the midpoint of a diamond pattern, which is why I identified it as diamonds. Yeah. So let's just see. These could be the pivots of our diamond, these 2 points. And it would be easy to know if it broke out because for the sake of argument, we just do this, you know, and then once you take that high, you've broken out. Now you're broken out of the diamond pattern. Usually with diamond patterns, I don't really know diamond patterns to break out the other way. So now that we've come into from the highs, you're expecting it to go out from the highs too. If it doesn't do that, then you're forming another pattern. So if we go up like this and do something else, you basically invalidate your diamond pattern idea completely, and now you're forming some other higher time frame pattern. So the diamond pattern was a failure. So I don't necessarily expect this to break out downwards, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did fail. Like, not all diamond patterns, if they are forming, succeed. There is a percentage that there's a failure, and then you end up with some other kind of higher time frame pattern. Who knows what it's going to be? Let's just imagine this is what happens. It could be, I don't know, it could be some kind of, I can draw this right, who knows, some kind of wedge, you know, who knows, it could be something else. But that would be a sign of weakness, because if you come back into the range after a failed diamond pattern, then you're probably going down as well. And so actually you could potentially be forming, you know, like a megaphone. You know, anything can form after you have failed patterns. You basically, when you fail patterns, you form other patterns. And so it's just something to bear in mind. But at the moment it's looking quite bullish, so let's just see how that plays out. Let me have a look at the total market crypto cap. Yeah, that looks amazing. I love that. We're above the previous high. We're kind of holding support a little bit. Weekly candle. Bullish AF. We're back above this higher time frame mid channel that I have, this midpoint. See that? So we've closed nicely above it again. And so if I zoom in, you can see it was acting as resistance here, and then we broke above it. We back tested it here, and it's a nice clean break. So we have some nice support levels on this previous high, which potentially could backtest on the midpoint of this higher time frame channel, and it'll be easy to see if we get a rejection from this upper part, because now on the weekly time frame at least, you just don't want to see the price coming back underneath. You know, that would look wrong. That would look like a failed auction into this higher part. So we can keep an eye on those to see if there's a change, but at the moment it's looking bullish. Let's see. Let me just have a look at these ones. These ones are good. Yep, I don't see any problems with that one. That's the total market cap excluding BTC. This is the market cap excluding BTC and ETH. Looks okay. I didn't see anything. It's looking bullish. What we really want is BTC to crash actually now, because they're all looking bullish, and if BTC crashes, then we're good. Then the alts will run. That's really what everyone wants. No one really cares about Bitcoin. Do they? All right. Let's have a look at TRVL now. There's a lot of interest in TRVL. So let's have a look and see what TRVL is saying to us today. Let me get rid of all of this stuff. I can delete all that now. Gosh. It's there. I'll put that into my Wyckoff and hide that. All right. So I'm looking at the MEXC chart. Oh God. So I actually haven't looked at this chart today. And there's a few things I wanted to share with you, because I was looking at it last night as we formed this kind of up. Please update. Well, VI is doing well, isn't it, Majid? You saw the trade. But I'll go and have a look at it. I don't mind doing VI. Let's just finish TRVL. Good morning, by the way. So a few things to note. And the first thing is that this hidden bullish divergence was basically exactly as predicted. Yeah. So I think we should bear that in mind. That was quite a good spot. And also, I did have the idea of the price coming into some kind of back test of some sort of flat top triangle type breakout. But it's not very clear on this. It's actually a lot clearer on the other exchanges. So if you go to KuCoin, it's a lot easier to see. And let me show you. So you have that, and then you have kind of this. See that? So you have this kind of flat top triangle breakout, and then we had the back test. It was a good place to accumulate for another push up. That corresponded very nicely to our hidden bullish divergence, which was showing on the MACD. And I did explain that when it did it before, here to here and here to here, we had the same kind of whoop, and we've kind of continued that behavior. So that was quite good. Now, when I'm looking at, delete these. Now, just bear in mind that MACD divergences work on both sides of the scale. You can see bullish divergences, you can see bearish divergences. Now, the strong divergences which I explained are the ones that I explained in my previous video, where the price is higher and the MACD is lower. That's the strong one. That's the one that you can easily trade. Yeah. The one where the price is lower, I'll show you. Can I show you? I can show you. I'll show you in this downtrend. See, look here, the price is lower and the MACD is higher. It's bullish divergence, but it's not the same. It doesn't have the same effect. So one of them is really good and the other one is kind of meh. And just bear that in mind. So you kind of want the price to always be higher. That's the bullish one. When you have the price lower, this tells me it's still good, but it might continue going down. That's the problem with this one. And also, it's basically telling you that it's more lack of participation, not necessarily tells you that the volume is being absorbed. What you want to trade is the absorption. Absorption is what you want because you want the sellers to be absorbed, and lack of participation is harder to catch. It takes a lot of time to see when a good time to trade it is. So in the same sense, if we make a higher price now and the MACD is lower, see, that's bearish divergence. That would be bearish divergence. Okay. But again, it's the weak form of bearish divergence, not the strong form of bearish divergence. The strong form of bearish divergence, the one that you don't want to see, is if you get the MACD going up to make a higher MACD and the price still being lower. That's the strong bearish divergence. That means the upward price is being absorbed because you're making a lower high. Yeah, whereas the MACD is making a higher high. Yeah. So just bear this in mind. There's one form of divergence which is really strong, and the other form isn't so strong. And so it doesn't, this one that I'm seeing now on the bearish side, I'm not really paying much attention to it because all I'm seeing is lack of participants in selling. Doesn't mean anything really, because the price could still just keep on going up and up and up. There's lack of participants in selling. It just means there aren't as many sellers at this price. And maybe because there's an upward trend forming, when the price was going down here, there was a lack of buyers. Yeah. So it's just something to bear in mind. What you really want to see is the bullish divergences at the low, which give you the right indications, which is that the price is being absorbed. So that's something to bear in mind. So if we go back to my MEXC chart, and I can delete this line now. So a couple of things that I had in my mind. Firstly, I was looking at this line chart on the higher time frame, and I was really looking higher time frame, and I was looking at all of the charts, actually, this line chart. And sometimes it's good to just look at different charts. You might get a different kind of perspective. And then I saw that all of them had this kind of peculiar trend line. They all have their kind of like inaccuracies. So it's not exact. Okay. I'll try and make it as exact as possible, but we are talking higher time frame. And you see right now, so we have this kind of unusual higher time frame line where the price is clearly offered support off this line here, lost it, back test once, twice, 3 times, I would class that as a back test 4 times. And now we're coming into that line for the 5th time. All right. So is it a good time to sell? Technically, no. The reason why it's not a good time to sell is because you have a higher time frame line that now is being tested for the 5th time. Usually with these higher time frame lines, you will take the 3rd test, the 3rd one. Yeah, usually that's where you're going to get the most response. And so I didn't have this before. I mean, like, these things are, it's so easy to see these things in hindsight. It's a lot harder to see them as it's happening, and I wasn't paying attention because I wasn't looking at the line chart. But obviously what you can see is that that was the right one. That was the right one to take. And that went up to, according to this, 5.7. Now, this is a 3-day line chart. So actually we know that the price went much higher. So you probably couldn't have traded this because it's a 3-day line chart. You would have had to zoom in. Yeah. And it still doesn't go to where the price went to. So anyway, what's interesting is that on all of the exchanges, when I look at all of them, we're basically at the same point. They're all saying the same thing. Get rid of this now. Like these and that one. Right. Let me just show you this one on Gate, just so that you see that this is really interesting because they're all saying the same thing. I think it's interesting. See that? They're all saying the same thing. So we're at a really important moment in the price for this token now. We're in a very important period. This could go potentially, I don't think this is crazy bearish to be back into to be back into a line for the 5th time, I think is bullish. But we need to break that line, and then we need to back test that line too. Now, if we break it, we may break it, but it would be nice to back test it. That would be nice. It would be nice to flip it into support, just like here. It found support before it became resistance. I wouldn't mind if it did that to go back up. I wouldn't mind. And so we have to see how that plays out. There's something really interesting. Whatever happens, I think we need volume to get through that line. That's going to give people confidence about the break. So Gate isn't really showing good volume. Let me have a look at Max. Yeah, I do feel like we need a little bit of volume to get through that line. Now, if we don't break it, for whatever reason, it's possible. I can't predict the future. And what could possibly happen is you get a failed auction. Something like that could happen. Then you're probably looking for more like something like that. Probably. And we have to see how this plays out. I don't know how it will play out. Let's just say that's also possible. I think if that was to happen, it'll be a lot easier to break, just simply because you're then trying to break it at a lower price after coming down to pick up a lot of liquidity, which is lying lower down, which has been untapped. Excuse me. Just bear that in mind. There's a few things that could happen here. I think everyone wants a clean break with volume. That's going to be everyone's dream. And I think that's going to give everyone the kind of the peace of mind with this token right now, which some people don't have. Now that I've drawn that line, I've nicely lined that line up. Hold on, let me just connect it properly. Let me connect it properly to these. What I usually do with these trend lines, just so that you know, is I usually take the last 2 points, even though it might match correctly. I usually just take the most recent data, even though it might line up better in the highs. I usually then just readjust it. Once I've seen the line is in place, what I usually do is just readjust it with the latest data, just because I think that's more relevant. Although technically, you see it, I think that was front run, but you know, it's all a little bit subjective too. And if I go back to the candles, it's amazing how like the close was on that line. Or maybe I should take it to the, actually I think the KuCoin one is better. So let me go to the KuCoin one and let me just have a look at it on KuCoin. So I think I was doing it on KuCoin. So sorry, let me just try this one more time. No, the KuCoin one isn't better. It's shit. Which one is the best one? No, not Gates. Maybe Mex or Bybit. Let me have a look at Bybit. Oh, it's the 3-day chart. That's why. I'm such an idiot. I was looking at the 3-day chart. Yeah, it's a 3-day chart. Let me have a look at the 3-day chart. I'm not sure which one is the best one. Have a look at that. Let's go back to Mex. Sorry, this is taking a little bit of time. I'm just trying to figure this out. It's not easy. Majid is asking, what is the expected target? I bought in at 3. Do you mean for TRVL or for something else? Did you mean you bought in at 3 cents? Dude, if you bought in at 3 cents, you're laughing. Literally laughing. Well done. I'm going to tell you the targets now. So let me just line this up again. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. I go to the lower time frame on the candles. So you can see, if I go back to candles, it's interesting that we kind of closed almost on the above the line, but not like right at the line. And I don't know, it's quite I find it quite fascinating the way these things line up. And look, you see that? And these are the candles now. See kind of how that's the same line that I had drawn on the other chart, the line chart. And it's quite fascinating how you have a back test and it's the same line, that same line. And then here earlier on in April, look, it's the same line. See that? You have like a resistance and then support and then back test, resistance, and then going all the way back. So there is something going on here, and you can't actually draw that line on the candle chart. You have to go to the line chart to draw that line. Sorry, excuse me. So anyway, we're coming into that line again, and these trend lines are very subjective, and also I never trade them because for me horizontal lines are more important, but it's just something to kind of bear in mind. I think it's going to be a massive achievement for us to get above there and flip it. I think that's going to be a massive achievement, and I'm hoping that that happens. Realistically, for me, the way I trade or the way I perceive the charts are level to level, horizontal level to level, and also the reclaiming of previous ranges or losing previous ranges. So I think I've said this before. I think this range here, because it was such a long time, I think this range is really important for me. And the actual level is higher up. So really what I want to see is I want to see the price find acceptance into this price range. And because this price range was maybe 4 or 5 months, if you include the first part, I think that's going to be really important for psychologically for people who are in this token, because that was a significant period of time early on in the token's history during the bear market. And if we now in the beginnings of the bull market are able to flip this higher time frame trend line into support and reclaim a previous volume area, previous value area, and start putting volume back up there, then I think this is going to look really healthy, like really super healthy. It's kind of what I want. All right. And so we just have to see what happens. As always, I say let's see what happens. I don't know. Looking at the current price action though, this is on MEX. We have a nice amount of buying. Look at that. These are market buys. See those? See the wicks on top? It means people are market buying. Market buy, market buy, market buy. So someone is actually just buying quite a large amount of tokens now. 87,000, 42,000, 37,000, 49,000 in the highs of this range. And that was on MEX. Gate is just following the price. Little bots are doing their jobs, but that candle was quite there was a little bit of a, where was it? There. This candle here, that was a market buy, 133,000 tokens. This is the KuCoin one with that line. So you can see on the KuCoin chart that we are actually now potentially back above the line, that line that I had. So that's quite exciting potential. So the charts are actually slightly off, but on different exchanges, but we'll just knock them down one by one. And KuCoin is not showing the most volume. Oh, actually, look, you see that green candle? That's 163,000. That was a market buy. So we're getting quite good volume at these prices at the moment. And that's what you want. You want people to believe that this is a good price. And so when you see good volume coming at these prices, that's going to give people more confidence. Let me have a look at Bybit as well. That's another market buy. That's a big market buy. And that's quite large for Bybit. That's 198,000. And that was a little bit of a sell, 76,000, but you see the price is still there. So there was limit orders as well to absorb that. And then this move up had 159,000. That's quite a lot in the highs though, 198,000. That takes liquidity. Those market buys clears the liquidity from limit orders who have put sell orders in those highs. And that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see the liquidity taken, and then you want to see the price to consolidate in the highs for the next kind of potentially for the next move. The other thing I wanted to show you just quickly. So if I go back to the line chart on the 3-day range on KuCoin, because that's why I was doing it. And so I was just thinking to myself, if we do break out, what would be the potential target of this? Because this is a significant, this is a significant line. Don't think this is insignificant. We're basically looking at a higher time frame trend line which is aligning on all of the exchanges at the same time we're coming back into it. So if we do break this, it should be easy to see what our targets are. And this goes to Majid's question. So what I was thinking to myself is what I want, that the initial target for me would be from this low here to this high here. Like that's the kind of the extent of the range, right? That's like you want the same mirrored. So that's why, unless anyone has any other kind of offers any kind of insight into this that I don't know, I was thinking like that. That's kind of what I'm imagining. So if we do get a breakout, potentially, now I don't know, I think you'd want it from the back test. I don't know where the back test is going to be. So we have to see where it really breaks out, but potentially from the current price, if you take the same distance to there, potentially we're looking at about, this takes us to about 25 cents. I mean, this is the 3-day chart. It's very rough, but we have a bit of a target there. So if basically what I'm saying is you draw a line from there to there, and you just do that. And then, I don't know, maybe it back tests it a bit lower. So you get a slightly lower target. Now that's kind of what I'm imagining, potentially. So whatever the extent of this is, I'm thinking that will be, it's kind of like this. Done. I don't know. I don't know. I don't usually trade with lines, so I don't know. Or maybe an extension. Maybe an extension of this. Yeah, see, that takes us to a good target, I think. See that? So actually, maybe that's what you want to do. If I go back to the candle chart, which is, I prefer that. I'll keep that line as a reference line. And if I go from the tip to the toe, you see this kind of gives us slightly higher targets on the fib extension. I actually don't mind that so much because on MEX, it lines up really nicely. I'll show you. So MEX is my chart of choice simply because of the values are correct from the highs to the lows, and I think that would be better. And then also the other thing that you can do is you can do a fib retracement. So you see that there's really strong resistance. Can you see that? There's really strong resistance at about 30 cents. Because that's the golden pocket of the overall range. There. And on this extension, this fib extension, from here, from this high to this low, you're quite well extended. You're into the 1414, which is coming in about 31 cents. Now that's going to be quite major resistance, so just bear that in mind. And actually the fib extension, you're going to start hitting real resistance a little bit lower at this first fib extension level that I have of 1.272. Something about fibs is you just can't ignore them. You just don't ignore them. And fibs work. They're magical numbers. They work for selling and they work for buying. So just bear that in mind. So if I start giving you these numbers, don't ignore them. Like, make a note of them. But Majid, what I need to do before I personally am looking to take some sort of profit is I need to see an impulsive wave. I haven't seen that yet. And I'm not going to sell before I see an impulsive wave, because I am still thinking that I want to see 5 waves. I want to see a wave 1, which is impulsive, a corrective wave, which is a wave 2, a third wave, which is impulsive, a wave 4, which is corrective, and a wave 5, which is impulsive. I'm looking for 3 impulsive waves and 2 corrective waves. So unless I see that, I'm not going to be taking profit. Okay. And the impulsive wave is going to be impulsive. Yeah. So I'll give you an idea of what I'm looking for an impulsive wave. Do you see this move from here to here? That was impulsive. Yeah. Just non-stop buying, continuous buying. No one was really selling, and people who were selling, the buying overcame the volume of the selling. I'm looking for impulse. And if we do get this kind of move up to there, from here, look, it's going to put us right into the golden pocket. So I am actually looking for the golden pocket as my first target, but you have to see how the price reacts at certain levels. And I've shown before that I have in mind some other kind of ideas. Like I have this channel. And a key kind of level is this previous high here. See that? I think you have to see what happens when the price takes that high and then how far it goes. Because if you come into the 50% and find resistance, then you just may not have enough oomph to go further, and that doesn't matter. So I just want to see how the price reacts. Like, I would be thinking the first area of interest will be potentially this imaginary channel that I've drawn, this green one. See that? And that in the current time frame would put the price at about 20 cents. But you know, like, who knows? Like, I'm not going to just take profit if I see crazy impulse. Honestly, I'm not going to just create, I'm not just going to, it's like catching a falling knife. You don't catch a falling knife. It's the same thing for going up. The price is impulsing up. You don't just sell into that, hoping that this is the right level. You wait. Yeah. And we haven't seen an impulse yet. And if I look at the previous impulse, we have had one impulse. Look, this is the 3-day chart. And look, it impulsed, and then there was plenty of time in the highs to see the price turning to take profit. You see that? There was plenty of time. So the range from the top to the bottom, okay, it was 36%. It wasn't a small range, but like, it was a range. And you could see from these candles, like, maybe the first indication here could have been this doji, and this second doji for sure. The second doji was pretty bearish. This second doji was quite bearish. After the first doji form was quite bearish, And what happened is the price came back into that level 6 days later. So there was plenty of opportunity to exit at those highs. And that was only 22% from the highs. So you might not catch the top if you wait. But then you don't have to catch a falling knife, or the reverse of a falling knife, which is try to catch a rising explosion or whatever. And so this was the explosion. So if you're like, when do you take profit on this rise? You know, like, when do you take profit? Do you take profit here? Where do you take profit? So you have to wait for it to hit higher time frame levels. You have to wait for it to settle and just to find resistance. And hopefully that is going to happen at the right place. Hi, Cactus Kate. How are you? Good morning. Never seen you before, but welcome. So Cactus Cake is asking, do you think people will buy meme coins again once everyone else sees Bitcoin run to the all-time highs? Maybe Pepe is a buy again. Excuse me 1 second. I think when Bitcoin is in price discovery and showing extreme strength, and then you have this capital rotation back into the altcoins just because Bitcoin is still strong, most coins will pump. Simply because then you're going to get retail jump into the market. And what retail tends to do is, rather than buy just Bitcoin, they'll also start throwing their money at all coins, literally all coins. And it's like a gambling fest. People will go into this kind of gambling mode, and what they'll do is they'll try and fill their bags as quickly as, it'll be a race to fill their bags as quickly as possible. And I think all coins will pump. Now, the question is, do coins pump and then dump, or do coins pump and then continue? That's the real question. And that's going to be largely dependent upon the past, and upon the momentum, and upon the projects and as well, and what they're doing to support the price in terms of partnerships and bullish news and developments with the products that they're developing, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things that go into sustaining the price in a bull market when the price is rallying. And with meme coins, generally speaking, it's just pump and dump. Basically, it's just pump and dump. It's just a complete craze for a short period of time, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, where you're just going to get people going crazy, and a lot of people will get burned because most people will come in at the highs hoping for their 2x, not realizing that most people who have been in it from the beginning are already sitting on 100x or 50x, and they're nicely taking profits into the retail mania. They're the ones who come in to buy up the sales. Yeah. And so what happened with SHIB last time in the bull market is that people were sitting on large amounts of profit because they entered basically at the beginning. They weren't able to extract all of their profit because there just wasn't enough liquidity to do that. The price, the retail came and they just bought up all of the whales sell orders. I think it's very likely that most coins will pump. You just have to take profit. Yeah, with those meme coins, you just have to take profit. I think with something like TRVL, it's slightly different. It's different because it's a, and this is what people like. This is the other revelation that I have about TRVL, and I don't think people realize like the future of what's happening in this world, in this universe. So what's happened is now the world, the real world, the value is now transferring to this digital world. And that's now becoming to be underpinned by the idea of the value being stored on the blockchain in crypto. Yeah, so that's starting to take over the narrative. And so what's happening in this new concept of Web3, you have the formation of DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. And what Dtravel is, it's a DAO. It's a DAO, and it's creating this decentralized application which has a real world use case, a real world purpose. So basically it's Airbnb, but decentralized, and it's in the blockchain. It's in the Web3 universe. Yeah. Dtravel is going to now exist forever. Basically, it's the beginning of forever, effectively. And it's going to be managed and run and governed by the DAO, which is going to be controlled and owned by the owners of the token, TRVL. And the reason why it's forever is because it serves a real world use case, which is needed forever, the rental of properties. In the short term, we're considering vacation rentals. In the long term, that can iterate to anything, really. The application could be used for anything which requires some kind of rental, potentially. And it could even be short term, it could extend into long term or other forms of use case. So we are really at the beginning. And the great thing about Dtravel is it's all Web3, it's on the blockchain, and the contracts are peer-to-peer. So Dtravel isn't involved in that. I think this is now the beginning of something that is perpetual, is going to last forever, effectively. And what's interesting about Dtravel is that the token holders are growing, and now we're at a slow growth curve, but eventually it's going to speed up and speed up and speed up. It's going to become exponential. Yeah. So every new person who is listing their property on Dtravel is a future token holder, is a future owner of this project and of this ecosystem. And this is only just the beginning. And so when I'm there looking at the Telegram group and seeing new properties coming online, new listings coming on, and don't forget, these are property owners. These property owners have capital. They're not poor people. They own properties. And so I think this is the beginning of something really big, and it's perpetual. And I don't think anything is going to be able to destroy Dtravel ever, because it's decentralized and it's in the web and it's a DAO. So DAOs are going to take over in the future, basically. That's what I'm suggesting. DAOs are the future of the way applications will be run and governed. And this is the beginning of something which has the potential to disrupt travel. And it's basically the travel in a decentralized Web3 format, which is the future, which is the next iteration. It's kind of like Bitcoin was for store of value in terms of the gold idea, the gold kind of narrative that they developed, digital currency or digital store of value and transactions. Hold on a second. Hi, sorry about that. I had a phone call. So yeah, so I think this is the future of something, and I think we have to contemplate a new iteration of what is happening and what is going to happen in the future. DAOs are the future, and this application is the beginning of something. And I think AI application that's being developed is the first step to something else which it can evolve into down the line. And so when it comes to this price action, I mean, right now what I'm seeing is the end of the downtrend and the beginning of a new uptrend. And that's what I've been talking about. this golden cross signified the end of the downtrend, the beginning of an uptrend. And, you know, these changes in trends can last for a very long time. Like, we just don't know how long now. This could be the beginning of infinity, potentially. We just don't know. And the same thing is happening to Bitcoin. So right now, when I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart, let me just get rid of these brush strokes. Oh, this is nice. Look, see how the price is just pumped right back off the value area low, and it's above the golden cross. So that's quite interesting. And on the Bitcoin chart, we have just seen a golden cross, and this potentially is the beginning of a new trend. Potentially, this is what I'm seeing right now. Yeah. And I think once this project grows in value and once it becomes more and more known and recognized, just wait and see what happens. You know, just wait and see. Because right now what I'm seeing is like a lot of adoption on Dtravel. Like a lot of people are coming over from Airbnb, from VRBO, from booking.com. A lot of these people have no idea about crypto. They just see the application and they know the application works or it's working and it's a really good application and it's free to use. The cost is only 3% of the transactions, and that's returned to them anyway in terms of in TRVL value. So it's free basically. Just wait until these people start understanding crypto, and then wait until we develop the tokenomics so that people actually find use case, real use case for TRVL. Because right now TRVL, the main function of TRVL is the idea of governance, but this is changing, and so we just have to wait for that to take shape and to take form. All right, I think that's my TRVL update. I'm gonna move on to some more questions about some other stuff. Let me see. What else is there? Unless anyone else has any questions. Cactus Cake. Do you like Sol, even though it pumps so much? I think Sol holders sold them and bought ETH. Well, ETH looks like it's pumping right now. And naturally, what you see in the market is a rotation of capital from tokens that have pumped to tokens that haven't yet pumped. And so when you look at Sol, you know, Sol is already from the bear market lows of, oh, hold on a second. Sorry. Sorry about that. It was my brother. All right. So let me just get back to Sol. So Sol has already pumped quite a lot. From the bear market low to now, we are already 13x. And, you know, so, you know, naturally people are taking their profit and they're looking for the next pump. It doesn't mean that, oh, hello, War Child, welcome. It doesn't mean that Sol is not a bad buy. Just means that there's a natural rotation of capital. That's what normally happens. It goes from one token to the other token to the other token. And it also gives people an opportunity who are sitting on the sidelines to get involved with these tokens like Sol. If ETH is pumping and Sol isn't pumping, then maybe Sol will drop and then people can accumulate Sol at lower prices, and it allows people to get involved when they aren't necessarily involved. Yeah. So I don't think it's a bad thing for the capital to rotate. And I've done a full analysis on Sol already. So in my mind, I've got, oh God, it's quite complicated. So for me with Sol, we're above the all-time high. Not yet. We're not above the all-time high yet. So I'd like to see. So what we did in the previous bull market, Sol did a five-wave Elliott wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I've got the fib time on the bear market low correct at 618. So that timed perfectly. See that? And the way I drew that was from the 1 to the 3 to the 4. And then you can create, it kind of gives you your pivot at the bear market low. So I think these fib times are looking quite good. I think now we've done a wave 1 on Sol. So this kind of expansion from the bear market low was in my mind, that was our wave 1. Then we had a long period of consolidation, which was the 2. I'm not exactly sure whether it was to here or to there. It's all subjective. And I think we're in the 3 right now. I think we're in the 3 of Sol. And I think there's a 5 to come. Okay, and then there'll be a corrective fall. And I'm potentially thinking that the 3, why did I come with that number? So I was looking at, a trend-based fib. I was thinking maybe it was going to go higher. I think this 3 is probably going to go higher. Let me just try something else on. I'm thinking that actually maybe the all-time high. If this is the 5, then I'm thinking the all-time high. So I think the 3 is going to go to the all-time high, and then we have to see how the 4 corrects. And then if we get an extension, then in my mind, I'm thinking the extension is going to be from this all-time high to this bear market low. And then I'm thinking somewhere between $695 and $1,146, and probably psychologically $1,000. Probably that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Solana will probably, if we're gonna extend, we're gonna go and the key for Solana is a new all-time high, because I've said this before. What you do when you confirm and you let me just get rid of my drawings. So market structure is really important when it comes to tokens. And so if I go on to the higher time frame, the monthly time frame, yeah. Let's just say for the sake of argument, this is our higher high. This is a higher low. Yeah. The minute you make a higher high there, you've basically confirmed monthly bullish market structure. You're basically saying this token is bullish AF. Does that make sense? So a lot of these new tokens haven't actually had the time to create monthly bullish market structure. There's a lot of tokens, you look at them, they haven't done this. Yeah. So for Solana, this would be the first opportunity for Solana to create monthly time frame bullish market structure. The way that you know that that's a higher time frame, higher high, is because you've made a higher low. Now, a lot of people don't quite understand market structure and they don't know how it influences the price. But the point is that if Solana had gone down to make a lower low here, that was your higher high, then it would reset the whole structure idea, because then from a lower low here, you have to make a higher high, otherwise you make a lower high. Yeah, so it becomes a lot more challenging to make bullish market, because then you have to make a higher high, and then you have to go back down to make a higher low, and then you have to go back up to make a higher high. So that's the problem. A lot of tokens, if they haven't made a higher low, then they have to make a higher high in this bull market. Yeah. So when I'm looking at certain tokens, I'll give you an example. Not the new ones. You're looking at the old ones now. So I was looking at some kind of old tokens. Let me have a look at one here now. Without going through all of them. This shit token, Gary. Get rid of this analysis. So let me just get rid of these so I can draw on the token, on the price chart. So you see what happened with Gary. You had a launch price, you made an all-time high, so that's your higher high potentially. Higher high. And then look what happens. It doesn't hold the low. It makes a lower low. See that? That's a low low. And so now for this token to, if this token in this bull market, doesn't go back above the all-time high somehow to make a higher high, it would have to do that. That would be a higher high. Yeah. Then it's going to make, guess what? A lower high. And then when you're in the bear market, when everything sells off, guess what you end up with? A lower low. And that's confirmation of bearish market. This token is dead then. It's a dead token. There's no way to recover in the short term, medium term, a monthly time frame bearish market structure. You can't recover from that. People won't even bother with this token because it's bearish market structure. Yeah, and that's the problem with these tokens which have made lower lows, and they have a lot of work to do to get back up to make a higher high. Not all tokens are going to be able to make higher highs. You have to be careful with certain tokens, especially tokens which have made a lower low in this market. Now, the problem with this token, for example, it launched the problem with this token, I'll give you an example, just this token specifically, but I can go and have a look at other tokens. Let me go to the daily chart. Let me get rid of this shit. The problem with this token is you had a little bit of a rug pull here. Yeah. So when you look at the volume in this range, yeah, you see this volume here. That's trapped liquidity. It's trapped liquidity because someone rug pulled the buyers. They got rug pulled. And so you have a lot of people sitting on tokens which have lost all of or most of their value, right? And so in this bull market, this token has one opportunity to make an all-time high. It's not going to make an all-time high outside of this bull market. Yeah, this is the one opportunity. The next year has an opportunity to make an all-time high. The problem with this token is you have a large amount of volume in the way. So if even if the price goes up to there, you're going to have two types of sell pressure. You're going to have all of these trapped longs who are going to sell at break even. And then all of these people who have caught this token at the lows, and you can see there's quite a large amount of volume that came into these lows, probably the same people who sold, yeah, who rug pulled this token. And they're basically going to get their followers to pump this token. And these people, once they get to that level, they're already 16x on their investment, and they're going to sell too. So you're going to have two types of sell pressure. These people looking to get out of break even, and these people who are taking profit after a significant increase in value from the absolute low. Okay, so these people are actually manipulating the market. So there's going to be a lot of challenge for a token like this to make a higher high. And if it doesn't make a higher high in this bull market, then you're making a lower high. Yeah. And so you have to be careful with certain tokens. Now, a lot of tokens, like that's why Solana is so bullish, because Solana it looks like it's it held the lows. So it's gone from, this is a higher high here. It looks like it's making a higher low here. And once we break the all-time high, we're not there yet, but we will. Then you've made a higher high. And that's confirmation of bullish market structure on the monthly time frame. And then this just continues, like bullish market structure on the monthly time frame. It can continue for a long time. Does that make sense? So this higher low is really important, and I think we're probably going to see a higher high. It looks like we're going to get there, and it looks like we're probably going to go higher. So I think with Solana, let me get rid of these brush strokes now. I think in my mind, what I'm thinking with Solana, this is the wrong chart. Which chart was I on? Let me go and have a look. Probably that one. Get rid of these again. Right. So in terms of targets, I think an easy way to draw targets, I don't know if you're familiar with charting, is I use the log chart. I go from the all-time high to this bear market low, and I'll do a full extend on the log time frame, on the log. So you just make sure it's fib levels based on log. See that? And that's going to give you some easy extended targets. And the targets that you would use are the 1.272, the 1.414, and the 1.618. And if you get unbelievably crazy extended run, the 2. Yeah, they're your targets. And you just have to see what happens. And I think if you're looking to take major profits along the way, the all-time high is a good place. It's always good to take profits at the all-time high. But I think you might want to put that back in to like that's the thing, like you might take profits at the all-time high and it might get a pullback. You might want to just put all of that back in because the bull run isn't over. Like there's still time. So that's something to bear in mind. And that's what people are doing in the bull market. When people take significant profits, they actually put it back in on the pullbacks. They buy the dips with the same profit that they've taken because they're looking to compound their gains because they have higher targets. And I think when it comes to Solana, I don't really see why we don't necessarily hit those higher targets. I don't see why we don't. I can't predict the future, but I just don't see why we don't. And if I was to do a trend based to here, I actually think the 6, look, you see how I just did that and it lined up perfectly with the extension. That's 6. So basically what I'm saying is this is your 1, that was your 2, this was your 3, this was your 4, that was your 5. And then we have a bear market, A, B, C correction. And now we're into our 1 to the 2, and we're in our 3 now. We're in our 3 now. That's what I'm saying, right? And so when I line up the pivots from the 0 here to the 5, and I do a trend base down to the beginning of the 1, of the 3 here, the 786 of this trend base fib lines up precisely with the fib extension from the all-time high here to the bear market low here, exactly the same line. So that's it's a little bit of a confirmation. So basically I'm saying we're going to 699 at the very least. That's what I feel. It'd be very strange for us not to get there. But I also think that you would take profit at the all-time high because you have the 618 lining up perfectly with the all-time high. Yeah, and so fibs are magic, and they, for some reason, they work, and you just don't fight fibs. Just go with them. Just buy and sell on fib levels, and you'll be fine. So you want to make a note of those targets. All-time high is about $268. Then your extension is $699 or $695. Go for the lower value. And then if we extend further, which is very likely because it's Solana and you're in price discovery, then you could possibly target much higher, up to 1,146. It's crazy because what will happen is when you get higher, people get more bullish. And what happens is the people who are joining the market, the retail, will go, oh my God, Solana was $10. I'm going to miss out. It's called FOMO. And they'll start buying it at $500, $600, $900. They'll still think it's cheap. They'll go, well, I should have like 5 or 4 just in case. They'll think to themselves, what if Solana goes and becomes like Bitcoin, $100,000? That's what they think. So it's all a kind of psychological kind of deception that people pick up with FOMO. So that's kind of what I think about Solana. It's going to pump. All right. Hope that answers your questions. All right. Any other questions? Anyone? No one? Majid is asking, what is Travel's strategy and when? Oh, okay, the strategy. Well, I think with the strategy on TRVL, I think they're kind of releasing their strategy, aren't they? If you go onto their Discord, have a look. Or they do their updates on Twitter. What strategy do you mean? So I'm in this trade, guys, which I took yesterday. This token I posted. I'm in the trade on this one, Kai. And basically this was my trade plan. So I saw this SR flip and I just started buying and it's up a bit. So I'm quite happy about that. It's up about 8%. Not as much as TRVL. I should have bought TRVL. But, you know, the problem I have with TRVL is is because we're in the lows, I'm not selling it. Whereas with this, I might actually trade it. So I have some targets. So even now, it's not bad. You'd have to adjust your position size if you wanted to enter. You'd have to do that to have a different position. You're still looking at a 1 to 420, 1 to 400 risk to reward ratio if you hit the extension, which is what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for this 1272 extension. We'll see. So I'm aiming for the I'm aiming to hold this to the bull market to the end, and the reason why is because on the overall range we've just come back above the point of control, and I like that. I like that we've done that. So I'm seeing that there's a little bit of an SR flip here. So I'm quite interested in this, and also it's good to diversify a little bit. And if this was to do what I think it could do, then that would be quite a large gain. And so effectively what I did, it's the same idea with Solana. If I was to hide these, or if I go to the other chart, because there's two charts in this. So what I did was I did this 5-wave Elliott wave analysis. And again, it's the same idea. We've made potentially a higher low. This is a higher low. This is your higher high. And when the price finally gets above the all-time high, then you're confirming bullish market structure for a higher high. Yeah. So it's really important to, when you're seeing these old coins, it's really important that you see a higher low, and that it hasn't gone from a higher high to make a lower low. It's really important that you see that. And I think that's, once you get that kind of idea, then it becomes really easy to trade, because there's no reason why the price can't get back up there. And the other thing that you can do is really easy to do projections then, because now I can do two types of projections, exactly the same idea as what I just did with Solana. I can do some kind of extension, and also I can do some kind of trend-based fib. So if I do a trend-based fib if I do an extension from the all-time high to this pivot low here, I got higher targets, I don't know why. Oh, no, that's fine. And then I can do a trend-based from this low here to the end of this one, down to this low here. Okay, and you see the 786 comes to the all-time high just above it, and then the 1-to-1. So potentially I'm thinking if it overextends, it could get up to about here. Potentially then. I have to see what happens. That's something to, I'm quite interested in this. Actually, there's quite a big resistance here in the way. We'll have to see how it performs. A big take profit is going to be the all-time high. That's going to be a big take profit. And already from this current position, that's a 32x. 32x from our current price just to get to the all-time high. All right, there's something I'm looking at now. Anyone has any requests? Anyone? No requests. That's fine. It means I've done my job. I've explained everything. Ignore that sneezing. I've got someone in the background sneezing like crazy. All right. Pepe, you want me to look at Pepe? Sure, let's do it. Let's that's not me sneezing, by the way, but excuse her. Let's have a look at Pepe. Oh God, there's not much volume, huh? On Binance, it's very low volume. Let me do something else with Pepe. With Pepe, I just need to find the right exchange because it might not always be on Binance. Yeah, so let me just have a look at Coin Market Cap or Coin Gecko. Right, so the price, it launched in April the 18th. So I need to find the launch, April the 18th. We have quite high volume, 995 million. I need to find April the 18th. And I'll have a look at Gate Mex as well. Let's see if it's on Gate and Mex. There's Mex. There's Gate. They usually list coins first. I'll go to see if I can find April. Is that April? Is that April? Oh, there you go. Look at that. So let me see which chart is the best one to use. That goes all the way down to 193. This one goes all the way down to 293. All right. So then what you do is you have a look at the data and you see what the all-time low was, and it gives me this crazy number, which I have no idea. 0. Is that 7 zeros? 51554. 7 zeros. Let me just do this. Give me a second. Oh my God. 0.1234567 zeros. That's the all-time low. So let me check. Let me check it on the other chart. Let me try the all-time high. That's 5 zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the all-time high. I think Gate is the chart of choice. Let me see which has got the most volume. 30 trillion in the last week. Yeah, definitely Gate is the chart of choice. Just use Gate. And then what you would do is you would add those all-time high and all-time lows manually, because then you can do your fibs, which is what you want to do. You need correct fibs, and the way to do correct fibs is from the correct all-time low and all-time high. Even though here, according to this, the launch was lower, I don't know why that was like that. Have a look again. I don't understand. It looks like a scam to me, but okay, whatever. Now that we have that, there's a few things you can do. I'll first do the daily time frame. You can do a volume range pull on the whole volume, and actually you can see that it's got quite a tight volume range. We had a lot of volume lower down here. You see that? And what that suggests is that was a big take profit. So whoever was involved in the launch, the price went up 3.5x. They took a lot of profit. And then obviously the price went up further. So from the low, the all-time low, the launch is much lower, but let's just go from the all-time low to the point of control. You have a 21x. So you actually have people sitting on 21x in profit at the moment on Pepe. But what you expect is you expect some kind of distribution, which is what's happening here. And then you're expecting some kind of reaccumulation. So this could have been an initial distribution in the push up. Yeah. So this is the distribution, and maybe up there. And now we're looking at a reaccumulation. That's what's happening now, a reaccumulation. So you start off with distribution and then you continue on to reaccumulation. Now, no one really can predict the length of this reaccumulation, but the longer it goes, the more bullish it is. You want this reaccumulation to be as long as possible, really. So there's two types of bullish scenario. It's deep corrections or it's long consolidations. And so right now we're experiencing quite a long consolidation. It's basically from when you entered the range until now, you're almost a year in. Yeah, so Pepe hasn't moved much in that whole period. From the lows to the highs of this range, you're only looking at about a 200% increase in value. So if I was to now do some kind of fib pull, do it the other way. I did it the wrong way. So you do it from the all-time low to the all-time high. So you can see right now that the price is ranging between the 382 and the 236. You know? And actually the 382 is holding as support. So, and that's coinciding with the value area low of this extended range. So there is a support level flip on the 382 here. And you can kind of see the 236. So basically the price is kind of like here, it's like that. There's nothing really to say about Pepe. I don't know what to say except that we're in a long-term accumulation range. If the price was to dip, there's two places that you could enter. So we're into the point of control of this range, which is the point of control of the overall range. And effectively what you really want to do is you want to, at the very least, flip that into support. But really, to push up, if you want to see a push up, you need to flip this 236 into support, basically. You need to flip that into support value and then go up. And that's what you need to do. Until you do that, it's not going to go up. I don't really have much to say. I think we're just in an accumulation range. Can't really see any. There is some kind of trend line now. Let me do it from see that? We're in a bit of a trend line, huh? Right now. There's a little bit of resistance here. This is quite a large amount of volume in this push up. Someone bought heavily there. I'll do a fib pull here. That's good. So the price came back. See that? The price came back to the golden pocket of this price range up here. It's quite good. I think it's fine. I don't know what else to say. I think we're just in a long-term accumulation range. Eventually the price will break out, and honestly it doesn't look bad. As a trader, I wouldn't trade this until I saw a breakout, and I think you could just long the breakout. Yeah, you could probably long the breakout, and that would be the I would be thinking that's the trade to have here. Like, I wouldn't really accumulate this, because I mean this could just keep on going. Like, it's a long play, and you're just waiting for the breakout, aren't you? I mean, if I wanted to trade this as a trader, this is where I want to enter, here, down here. Yeah, traders want to come in here on the overall. They'd want a big pullback. This is what traders want. Like, I'll just explain. So there's two types of people. There's investors, there's traders, and there's hopers. Yeah. Right now, you've got a long-term accumulation. That's investors. But traders aren't going to trade this because it's in a range. The only way that traders are going to range this is at the edges of the ranges. So they'll be looking to sell these highs, and they'll be looking to buy these lows, and they'll just take their profit along the way. As it goes up and as it goes down, they'll take their profit. That's what traders will do. Or you'll get other types of traders who will wait for significant levels to be hit on the higher time frame. And so even though we're holding some kind of volume area, if we get down here, that's going to be a real opportunity to buy. Because you would have seen all of these people panic sell, and you're coming into a previous high volume node, which corresponds perfectly with a significant fib level, which is the golden pocket. Now traders will take that trade. They'll wait for some kind of invalidation, like a double bottom or some sort of triple bottom or something, and then they will take the trades, and their first major take profit will be the bottom of this range, loss range. They'll take most of their profit there, then they'll let the rest run, and who knows, they could be trading for the moon, but they'll take most of their profit, because what could happen if that was to happen is that you could get the price go up, reject, and come back down into the golden pocket for another chance, another attempt to finally get the breakout to go up. That's kind of what this is possible. What I'm explaining to you right now could happen. We just don't know. Yeah, but it's all within the realms of possibility, and that's the kind of price action you'd be expecting for a trader. Someone was looking to trade this, and then you'd have a breakout much lower down if this trend line was to hold, if this is what happened. But that's where traders want to get involved. Traders aren't going to get involved in it now. So all you're experiencing right now, yeah, is long-term reaccumulation, and basically most people who are accumulating, many people, some people will sell if the price was to go down, but most people here will probably just keep on buying. They just keep on buying. They just keep on dollar cost averaging in, because in their mind, they're long-term investors, and they're not really investing in the token. They don't really care about the token. They're investing in the bull market, the Bitcoin bull market, and one day they're expecting this to do this, and then that's going to be meme season whenever meme season happens. Yeah, that's basically what people are doing. No one is going to hold Pepe at the end of the Bitcoin bull run. Only those who get caught in the highs, and most of those people are going to be the latecomers who are retail. They're the ones who are going to get burnt. I mean, there is the possibility that this is a wave one, and now we're seeing some kind of wave two. That's very possible. What I'm seeing is possible. And if this is if that is a wave one, and this is some kind of wave two, then you could potentially have some targets. I'll do two types of targets for you. I'll do a fib extension. So this is your extension from the all-time high to the current all-time low, to the current all-time high to the low. I don't know if that works, because this all-time high is not really the all-time high, it's arbitrary. So maybe it might be better to do it just to the consolidation low. This might be better. And so from the current price to the first level that I would think it could extend to is about 5x up. To the all-time high, it's a 2.7x up. And then, I don't know, I mean, if you do a trend-based fib, that might be better. But that's assuming that this is the low. I don't know if this is the low. I can't tell you that. Then you would be thinking maybe potentially, let's just say from the all-time low here to there, to there. Potentially. Let me just check one more thing. Hold on. No, it doesn't really line up. Nothing lines up. It's hard because I don't know if this low is in. I don't know. I can't tell you that. This might go down, make a lower, make another, you know, like until the low is in, you just don't, it'll be very difficult to create targets on a new coin like this. Very difficult. Try it from here. This might be better. Let me have a look. It's like a 1-to-1 from here to here to here would take us up to that. I mean, I think maybe for me that would probably be because the 618 kind of lines up to the all-time high from the current price to the 1-to-1. you're probably looking at a 13x. So let me just do this more accurately. Let's load out. I'll just go to the high here, that's fine. And then I'm just taking it from this pivot here. There you go. The major take profit is the all-time high. The reason why you would take profit at the all-time high is because if we go up, it could just do that. Just don't, you can't predict that. And so it could just be, it could just continue the range. And what you could end up with, even though it's ranging, and actually there is some kind of like inverse head and shoulders forming here. Just bear that in mind. But I mean, even if that formed, the distance would be the all-time high if it broke out. And you're only really going as far as the all-time high here. See? So I think the all-time high will be a take profit. And then if you and what you might form is a higher time frame pattern. It could be like a flat top triangle. You know, you could, this is the thing, like you go from one pattern to another pattern to another pattern, and sometimes patterns break and they form other patterns. And what you'd be looking for is a bullish pattern like this. This would be really nice if we went into all-time high, took profit, and then start forming some kind of that would be really nice. That would make sense, because it means people are taking profit and they're just trying to buy back in, but it's so bullish that the price can only make a higher low every time, higher low, and then it keeps on testing this flat top until you finally get a breakout. This would be really bullish if that was to happen. Or if that wasn't to happen, there's so many things that can happen. If it goes up, it could just be ranging, just, you know, continue the range. It's possible. I'll give you an example on another token just so that you can see what I'm saying. But I mean, there isn't really more to say about this. Investors are accumulating, and then one day they're hoping that it's going to expand and there's going to be meme season, and then Pepe's going to be all over Twitter, and then retail are going to go Pepe mad and they're going to buy the price up. And then the key challenge for most people who are in this token now is to take profit at key levels. And so the way to do that is, once you have, I mean, the best way to do that in my mind is if we go up to make another high, the easiest way to do that is just to take a fib extension to whatever low is formed. The low is here, then do it to there, and then you've got your key take profits. Your 1272, your 1414, your 1618, your 2. I mean, you could go, you know, you could just have a look through these fibs and just mark them off and put levels. That's kind of what I think about Pepe right now, but it is forming some kind of inverse. I don't like these inverse head and shoulders in the highs, actually. I don't like these patterns. And then the other chart that I was thinking about when I said about, look, if I'll show you a new chart. It's Prop S, which I've been following. I'm not in it, but I just follow it. If I can find it. So here, look, I've got some stupid drawings. I'll get rid of those. So you see, this kind of did the same thing in a very shorter time frame. It did, you had the first kind of distribution there, and now it's in reaccumulation. This is the first move up, was distribution, and then you're in some kind of reaccumulation range now, kind of like Pepe a little bit, yeah. And after it made the first all-time high, you see when it went to go to the second all-time high, it was sold into, and it's just back into the range. Yeah, no reason to think just because it makes a new all-time high after it's made an all-time high that it's going to continue to the moon. Yeah, because people who've accumulated at the lows will take profit. That's what you have to imagine. You have to bear that in mind. These are people taking profit. Yeah, eventually there'll be an exhaustion of profit taking, and if you compound that with people entering the market because of the hype, and that's largely to do with Bitcoin, that's when you can get an overcoming of the sellers, and then you get the next expansion. And so this, for me, this is quite a little bit similar. When I look at Pepe, I'm going to see something very similar, but the difference is that Pepe has been ranging for a much longer time and has a much larger market cap, I imagine. What is the market cap? Look at that, 510 million. I mean, honestly, I think if you're going to accumulate, don't do accumulate Pepe. It's quite a large market cap. Like, it might 10x or 20x, but you'll get small coins like that Prop S I was showing you. Prop base, 7 million. Yeah. And basically it's doing exactly the same thing as Pepe, but it's a much smaller market cap, and so therefore it will probably expand much further just because it's a small market cap. And so while Pepe has a big hype train behind it, potentially, there's a problem with memes. It's like it's in season, out of season, like one meme takes over. There's no real value, and it's a hard one. Like, there's a lot of like other good coins which will have better value. Like, for example, the one that I've been tracking, TRVL, I think is amazing. Completely different chart. Now, TRVL does have that problem that I suggested earlier. So it didn't have a bull run. So after the initial launch, it sold. The price was sold. And it's never really run, ever. Let me just pull that back. Get rid of this and this. And what you effectively had, after, because it was the bear market and it just they launched basically at the worst time possible, which was the end of Bitcoin bull market, November the 21st, 2021. Basically, because you've made a lower low here, this is the higher high. So effectively what you needed to do is make a higher low, which hasn't happened. So you made a lower low. So in this bull market, this token has to make a higher high. It has to. There's no question about it. This token has to make a higher high. Yeah, I think it will. I think it will because the trend has changed. There's a golden cross. There's a lot of interest in this, and this project is off the charts. It's an amazing project. Yeah. Just go and do your research. Go onto Dtravel.com, have a look. Go and do a deep dive on Dtravel. Have a look for some of my videos. I go over the business in depth. Okay, but this still has the same problem as some of the other tokens I talked about. It still has to make a higher high. But the great thing about this, the difference between something like this and something like, I don't know, Pepe or Prop S or any other token, is that you're basically accumulating at the very low, This is, for me, this is the very low, and underneath the launch price, which was 9 cents, is basically like people are coming in as pre-launch investors. So when you're accumulating this token now, it's basically like your early investors. No one ever gets a chance to be an early investor in these tokens because it's usually offered to capitalists, to venture capitalists, and to hedge angel investors, because they're the ones with the money to throw around. So in my mind, I get anyone, like basically us, basically me, basically anyone who's listening to me has an opportunity to accumulate this as pre-launch price under 9 cents. And this is a great project, and I think this will make the higher high. But it does have that same problem. Like the same problem still exists, market structure, okay? And some tokens will and some tokens won't create bullish market structure in this bull cycle. Some tokens have really no chance, and for me this has every chance to get bullish market structure, because when I look at the moving averages, we've made a golden cross on the daily time frame. That is the beginning of a trend reversal, yeah. And I'm seeing higher time frame bullish patterns forming. I've got the idea of some sort of Adam and Eve. That's an Adam and Eve pattern. I've also got the idea of some sort of Wyckoff accumulation forming. That's my Wyckoff accumulation. Yeah. So let me just delete all those brush strokes. I like brush strokes, but then I have to delete them. So I've been tracking this token for a while, and I've got these ideas forming. And if these don't pan out, then we're looking at something else potentially. So I think when you're comparing like Pepe, when I'm comparing Pepe to something like this, I'm like, why Pepe? Why not this? And you just have to go and have a look. For me, this is a lot more interesting because you are catching the lows. Whereas with Pepe, you're basically catching the bull market momentum, but you have to sell. I think most people who get in on this project now won't have to sell most of their position, because once it goes back up into the previous range above 9 cents, which is the launch price, 9 cents, and if it does in the future make an all-time high and continue to do its 5-wave Elliott wave, which I'm expecting, then I don't really expect the price to come back down to 9 cents. It'd be very unlikely because you've just made a higher high. So the next challenge, which will be an easy challenge for the bulls, will, after the bull market is over, will be some sort of higher low. So that's, once we make a higher high, the next challenge will be a higher low. And I think at the very least, at the very lowest, 9 cents, at the very lowest, 9 cents would be higher low, at the very lowest. The very lowest, but I think probably much higher, probably about 20 or 30 cents at the, and it depends. Like no one can really predict the future. It just depends, because I think it depends on people extracting value. It depends on the network growing. It depends on the business. And these real world assets in the bear market always do better. These deep in real world assets in the bear market always do better than nothing tokens, rubbish tokens. So I think something to have a look at. I think it's something to have a look at. All right. I am also looking at potentially this higher time frame neckline break. So if that happens, then we're all going to be excited. We're right at the cusp of it right now. So let's see. A bit of buying here. So let's see. I'm quite excited. You're welcome, Cactus Cake. FET. Majid is asking about FET. I'm going to have a look at FET quickly. FET? You mean VET? Have a look at, you mean vet, Majid, not vet, vet. I can't find it. You're not saying anything. I mean, my price target for that was 0.2798. I've got it here in my trade plan. All-time high. So trade it back to the all-time high. That's your first target for that. If you're looking for higher time frame price target, just look at the extensions. And this channel that I've drawn is quite nice. You saw it in my previous analysis. I did an analysis on that. Just take profit at these levels or this higher channel. All right. It's really good with that because we've actually come back above this 382. Oh, FET. Can I do FET tomorrow? Because I'm gonna go now. Let me have a look. Because I'm gonna have to analyze it. I can't just look at it and tell you. Yeah, I can't tell you. I'm gonna have to look at it. And I have to really go deep. I'll have a look at it tomorrow. Remind me tomorrow, and I'll have a look at it. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. And if you like any of my videos, then just click on like. That would be really appreciated. See you.